开始。What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Anime Society. Of course, we are your humble hosts, Hunter here, along with Jonah. Jonah, say what's up to the people.
What's good? What's good?
And we want to give a big thank you really quick here early to everybody that has either subscribed within the past few weeks and everybody that has been watching the content. If you've enjoyed the content that we're bringing to you, please leave a like on some of the videos that you've really enjoyed. And if you want to continue to keep up with some of the content we put out, don't forget to subscribe as well.
Check out the Instagram page as well. We'll make sure that we have that link below. Share it with your friends. Make sure we get the word out. We want to bring more content to you guys and expand our audience. So big thanks, though. Big
thanks. And with that, without further ado, we're getting into this week's episode. And with that, Jonah, why don't you tell the people what the topic is for this week?
Our topic for episode 7 of the Anime Society is the best father figures in anime. Now, I know that, I guess for people who are familiar with anime and have watched it a decent bit, a lot of times the protagonist or main characters lose their parents. And so oftentimes you have another person who substitutes as the father figure and helps them grow, helps them become something better, helps them achieve their dreams. And those, for me at least, are some of my favorite characters in series. I love the wisdom that they share, the different experiences that they have with the protagonist. It gives them a lot of depth as a character and adds a lot of emotional weight to the story.
It's really good for the story, and it's some things that I think a lot of people can actually really relate to that comes from anime as well, because, you know, sometimes, obviously there are people out there that don't have their fathers in their lives, but there are also people, even if you do have your father in your life, there's also that mentor that's been around you that's older and has possibly been like that second father to you, or that has been just the father figure that you've needed in your life that you didn't get from your own father. So I think this is one of those topics that's very relatable just to a realistic and real world ideas, and it's really touching, and like you said, it pulls on your emotional heartstrings when it does happen in anime.
And so let's get it started. We've got 3 father figures that we're going to run through today. And to start us off, we're going with none other than Jiraiya from the series Naruto and Naruto Shippuden.
Jiraiya boy.
What's actually hilarious about Jiraiya is the way you're introduced to him. You would never think that he was going to be a good father figure in the end.
Oh god, no. You thought he was just some horny old man that anime was putting in here to bring comic relief to serious moments. Little did you know he was going to play a key part in any of this, especially in Naruto's maturation. For as immature as Jiraiya is, he helped Naruto mature. Something just doesn't seem right.
I remember when I was a kid and me and my brothers were like watching Naruto, we were super into it. And we spent weeks trying to convince my parents to come up and watch an episode. And we finally got them to come up and watch an episode. And of course, the one that they finally watch is when Jiraiya is introduced as the pervy sage. And he's literally in the bushes with binoculars by the waterfall, straight creeping.
Oh my god.
And I Big Dan, he's like, good lord, what are we watching? I'm like, Dad, it's not what you think, okay? He's actually cool, okay? Just take it easy.
So for us to go ahead and get into Jiraiya's backstory, what makes Jiraiya really a father figure is because essentially he takes that role for 4 kids, really, and 4 characters in Naruto. When it's original Naruto, you of course only know him as eventually becoming Naruto Sensei. But when you get into some of his backstory, when they talk about it in Naruto Shippuden, there are 3 other children that he took underneath his wing, and that was Yahiko, Nagato, and Conan, and they weren't even from the same village as Jiraiya. So there's already an aspect where he sees the youth in kids and he's trying to mold them, and he tries to teach them life lessons. It's not just one of those things where, of course, their initial reason for wanting to be with Jiraiya is, oh, he is this super strong ninja, he's one of the 3 legendary Sannin, and so of course all they want him to do is really train them to become strong ninja. But along the way, Jiraiya is teaching them life lessons. And what's really cool about it too, something that you learn in Shippuden as well, is it's almost fate that Jiraiya becomes Naruto sensei, because then you learn that Naruto's father actually learned and trained underneath Jiraiya as well when he was alive. And that's one of the things too that kind of plays into it as well, is Naruto, Yahiko, and Nagato, and Conan, none of them had parents alive at the time, so they were obviously looking for somebody in their life to help lead them.
Right. And in the case of Yahiko, Nagato, and Conan, like you said, Jiraiya wasn't even part of the same village. Those three kids were from the Hidden Rain village, I believe.
Yes.
And from what I remember, the Hidden Rain was in the midst of this massive war.
Mm-hmm.
Civil war, I believe.
Yes.
And so Yahiko, Nagato, and Conan, all they knew from the time they were born, pretty much, without parents, was war, suffering, pain, etc. And so, like you said, they originally sought out Jiraiya so they could obtain power, and fight back and help fix things.
Yeah.
But along the way, Jiraiya becomes literally a father to them. And he teaches, what I love about father figures in anime is the wisdom that they pass on to help the younger generation not repeat the same mistakes. Like Jiraiya, when he's talking to the kids, he tells them, there are multiple times, I think, I can't remember who he's talking to in specific, or he was talking to all three of them, but he talks to them about pain in general. And he talks about how pain is a catalyst for growth, but how that catalyst, like what you actually grow into, depends on you. You have to decide how you're going to use the pain you experience to develop into the kind of person that you want to be. And he says that pain, while it sucks, is necessary, and it helps us become more empathetic. It helps us understand other people. It helps us put ourselves on the same level and get people through trials that they might be going through. And I think that for Yahiko, Nagato, and Conan, that became a very important lesson that they carried with themselves throughout the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you kind of see it too when they obviously show Nagato and Conan as they get older. They still talk about Master Jiraiya's teachings, and even though their viewpoints get skewed as they get older, they still hold on to and remember the things that he taught them when they were younger. And one of the quotes to me that really stands out when we talk about father figures and why Jiraiya makes such a good father figure is it's the one where he's talking about a place where someone still thinks about you is a place you can call home. And I think for a lot of people, they're always like, well, I don't really have a place to call my home. I don't really know what makes a home. And especially, to Yahiko, Nagato, and Conan, who at the time basically almost had to be refugees in their own country because it was so war-torn, and their families were taken from them by the war, and they had nowhere to go. So that really spoke to them as well. But it also applies to Naruto. In early Naruto, the first season, even though he does have a place, obviously, that he goes and sleeps at night, he's got a roof over his head. He's got no family, and he's hated by the whole village because they viewed him as this monster. So he thought nobody cared about him. And Jiraiya obviously takes him under his wing whenever he's like, it's time for you to train and become a great ninja. And then that's when Naruto actually learns what it's like for somebody to like truly care for you and to want the best for you.
I think that's probably the main point is Jiraiya gave his love to people that didn't know what love was.
Right.
Like you take Yahiko, Nagato, and Conan and Naruto. Naruto, like you said, was ostracized by the entire village. He didn't have anyone that loved him. He didn't have anyone that he could turn to that he could consider family. Even in his own village, I don't think that Naruto in his younger years considered his village his home. And Jiraiya gave them the love and compassion necessary for them to have what they considered a home. And he taught them, like the quote that you said, I love. I mean, home isn't so much a physical place as it is people that love you and care about you and think about you.
Yeah. And so those are some of the reasons that our first character that we think of as a great father figure, and I think that's probably one of the best ones that we could lead off with, was in fact Jiraiya from Naruto. And now, Jonah, we're getting ready to talk about someone from your favorite manga anime out there. We're going into the world of One Piece, and we are going to talk about the great Yonko at the time, Whitebeard the pirate.
Whitebeard. I think we talk about One Piece every week just because I've got some personal favoritism bias that definitely takes a part in our creating of the show. But yeah, Whitebeard. So Whitebeard, to give you a little bit of his backstory, everyone knows Whitebeard as, you know, he was known as the strongest man alive during his prime. He was one of the 4 Yonko, which is one of the 4 emperors of the sea. The Yonko are basically pirate crews that are so strong, so powerful, they have so much influence and clout that the government doesn't even try to deal with them. They don't even try to send people after them to capture them. I mean, every pirate has a bounty, essentially, so the government will dispatch the Marines, you know, to go try to capture people, bring them in, throw them in prison, etc. But the Yonko are kind of exempt from that rule. They have their own territory that they rule over. Nobody can touch them. And Whitebeard, what makes him an amazing father figure is even in his younger days when he was sailing as, you know, just a crewmate on different ships, and anytime his crewmates would ask him, like, you know, like, what do you want, Whitebeard? It doesn't seem like you want anything in this world. You don't care about treasure. You don't care about power. You don't care about popularity, whatever. And Whitebeard replies and just says, you know, the only thing I've wanted ever since I was a kid was to have a family. I've never had a family. I want to know what it's like to have a family and take part in the love that a family shares. And so after, when he creates his own pirate crew, he takes in hundreds of people from all different walks of life, and he calls them his sons and his daughters. So the Whitebeard pirates aren't so much a pirate crew as they are this one massive family with Whitebeard as the central father figure over all of them.
Yeah, Whitebeard, and one of the most influential characters, at least early in One Piece, was Ace. And Ace, obviously, a lot of people can say, oh, well, that's Luffy's brother. Luffy, Ace, and Sabo all being together and calling each other brother, even though they weren't blood related. But even then, when Ace refers to Whitebeard, he calls him his dad. He doesn't just call him Whitebeard. He doesn't call him just Captain. He doesn't call him Edward. You know, it's Dad. Yeah, I know. For those of you that don't know, Whitebeard's name is Edward Newgate. So that's his name.
Whitebeard sounds so much cooler.
Yeah, but Whitebeard sounds so much cooler. But everybody talks about him like on his crew, and they refer to him as Dad, just as he refers to his crew as his sons and daughters. And I think it really speaks out to the fact that he does just take in, no matter what your past is, no matter if you were, you know, a murderer, or if you were a thief, you know, some shady people that most other crew members would probably be wary of. You know, other pirate groups probably wouldn't bring them in because they would say, oh, there's an opportunity that they might backstab me. It didn't matter to him because he saw that everybody could really benefit from having a family, and sometimes that is what you were looking for this whole time and didn't even realize it. I think the one that really stands out the most is, you know, we've got it here with our notes, but it's when Whitebeard at the Battle of Marineford gets stabbed by one of his own crew members because they thought it was going to bring an end to the war. He gets stabbed by Squardo. And, you know, Whitebeard just looks at him, and this is a great quote, and he just looks at him and says, "Though you are a fool, I still love you, my son." And that's just to me, it's like, that's like a parent in general. Obviously, me and you aren't parents, but that we know that's just how parents are in general. As children to our parents, me and you obviously have made mistakes in our life, but at the same time, they could look at us and say that exact line, "Though you are a fool, I still love you, my son." And that just speaks to the father figure mentality that Whitebeard brings to the table.
Yeah, and in Whitebeard's mind, I mean, he really didn't even see, like, once you joined his crew and he took you on into his family, all that you had done in your past was erased from his memory. There was no judgment, there was no disappointment, anger, regret, whatever. To him, the second you became a part of his family, he was going to love you no matter what. You know, and like we said with Jiraiya, I think that is what really makes a good father figure, is the love and empathy and compassion that they give to people that couldn't find it elsewhere. I mean, you look at Whitebeard's crew, and you get the feeling that the majority of them were these just kind of bandit renegades going out, lashing out in their anger at the world. And then the second that Whitebeard took them in, their hearts were changed. You know, and there's this great quote from Whitebeard. He says, "It doesn't matter who your parents were. Everyone is a child of the sea." And that's how Whitebeard thought. You know, it didn't matter your race. It didn't matter your power, your family issues, your past sins, whatever. Everyone was a child of the sea. And if he could take you in, he would immediately.
And with that, it's going to bring a close to our second father figure in anime. That was Whitebeard from One Piece. And now, our third one and the last one we're going to have for this episode. And this comes from another anime that we've spoken of a couple times. And that is going to be Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And it's going to be Maes Hughes.
Maes Hughes, for those of you who haven't watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and this is spoiler territory. So we're gonna throw up the notification again. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Full Metal Alchemist and you don't know what happens to Maes Hughes, you don't know anything about him, be wary going forward, skip ahead, or go watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's not that long and it's amazing. Maes Hughes is a member of the military, and he's one on our list that is actually a legitimate father. He actually has a kid and a wife. He is an absolutely amazing father. I mean, it's kind of like his gag at the beginning that every time someone talks to him, he just obsesses to them over how beautiful and amazing and cute his wife and his daughter are. It's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
But you can just tell, you can feel the love and genuine care he has for his family just emanating off him. And then on top of that, you have the Elric brothers, Edward and Alphonse, who are the main characters of the series. They, like we talked about before, they lost their mother, and their father left them when they were, I don't know if it gives you an exact age, but they were really little, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they were really
they probably
little.
weren't more than like 6, 7 maybe.
I don't even think that. I think maybe Edward, who was the oldest, would have been like 5. They looked really small.
Yeah, they were little. Anyway, so their father walks out on them, so they really didn't have, a father figure in their life, similarly to other people that we've talked about so far. And so when Edward and Alphonse join the military as state alchemists, Maes Hughes takes them in as if he was their dad. He invites them over, he gives them a place to stay. He gives them warm meals, clothes, etc. Anything that they need, he's always there for them. And it goes back to the Jiraiya quote, where a place where someone still thinks about you is a place you can call home. I think for the Elric brothers, they knew that the Hughes family, and Maes Hughes in specific, was thinking about them and did care about them, and so they could consider that place a home.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why Maes Hughes does fit the bill for a father figure, because even though, like we stated earlier, he does obviously have a wife and a child already, he doesn't necessarily have to go out of his way to try and fill that void of maybe not having a child that you've been able to leave your imprint on. But he does it anyways. He didn't have to be that way to the Elric brothers, Edward and Alphonse. He didn't have to, because he already had a daughter at home that he could have worried about.
Right.
But he chose to do that anyways because he saw what they were trying to do, and he saw really the hole that they were missing in their life. Obviously with their mother being dead when they were young, and their father walking out on them when they were just as young. So he realizes that there's a hole there that they really need filled, and he steps into it perfectly, and he doesn't overwhelm them. He's not overbearing. It's the simple things that for even a kid in today's life, maybe having a place to stay when you don't have a place to stay. Maybe you're missing some meals and you can't afford to get a meal yourself, and he's able to obviously feed Edward and Al. It's the small simple things. It's nothing over the top where he's like teaching them all sorts of life lessons and he's not giving them inspirational quotes. It's just he's showing genuine care which I think is
Right.
just what a lot of people ask for, is just showing that you care.
And I was gonna say, you could even go more basic than that. I feel like Maes Hughes oftentimes was just like a smiling face,
Yes.
you know, or a shoulder to cry on, or if he could see something visibly that was wrong, he didn't bite his tongue, you know. He would ask. He'd be like, hey, you know, what's going on? What's on your mind? Do you need someone to talk to, etc. And Maes Hughes is one of my favorite characters in all of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. He's amazing. And on top of that, I mean, the whole story, at the center of the whole story is this massive conspiracy and master plan that's going on behind the scenes that no one figures out. And Maes Hughes figures it out way before anyone else does.
Yes.
We gotta give the man his props. My man figured it out way before, like 30 episodes before anyone else figured it out.
Yeah.
So,
which unfortunately led to what happened to Maes Hughes.
Yeah.
But we won't get into that. That'll be for another episode. And with
the
that,
real OG one.
oh yeah, he's a real OG, and he fits the bill. I'm glad that he made the 3rd spot on our anime father figures. And thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. I'm gonna go ahead and extend this because I think Jonah would probably extend this if I sent it to him as well. If you enjoyed this kind of episode where it's the anime father figures, there are many more we can talk about. So if you really enjoyed it, don't be afraid to get in the chat and tell us that, hey, maybe you'd like to see another one of these. I know we've been coming out with quite a few series right now, but there's just so many names and so many characters that we can bring to you, so many moments we can bring to you, that instead of putting it in just one long show, we can break it up and bring to you week by week. So if this is an episode that you really enjoyed, like a good topic, don't be afraid to get in the chat and let us know.
Yeah, get in the comment section. Let us know. We're always active down there. As always, if you liked the video, smash like. If you enjoy the content that we bring you from the Anime Society, hit the subscribe button, share with all of your friends. Like I said, we do have the Instagram page. It's a little bit easier, I feel like, to share an Instagram page than it is a YouTube channel a lot of the times. So use that. We're trying to post somewhat daily, at least something, at least on our story.
Yeah.
So make sure that you follow us there to keep in touch. We're going to be doing polls and all kinds of other stuff to make it a little bit more interactive. So big thank you again for everybody that has liked and subscribed to this point. We really appreciate you, and we couldn't do it without you.
And with that, we are going to get up out of here. Thank you for tuning in today, and we will see you next time, Anime Society.
Peace!